Some car mods don't just get you pulled over. They can void your insurance, land you in court, or even get your car impounded. We're exposing 11 accessories that look cool, but break laws you didn't even know existed, and many drivers are using at least one. Stick to the end because the last one isn't just attracting police, it's literally choking the planet. Accessory number 11, nitrous oxide systems. Let's start with something that sounds like it came straight out of a racing movie. Nitrous oxide, or NOS, is completely legal to buy, completely legal to install. But the second it's armed and ready for use on a public road, you've just broken federal law. Every single manufacturer labels their nitrous kits for off-road or racing use only. The reason? It's classified as a performance-enhancing substance under federal regulations. Once you connect that bottle to your engine, you're violating emission laws and risk getting hit with serious fines. And that's before we even talk about your insurance. Here's what most people don't realize. Law enforcement is trained to spot nitrous setups instantly. They look for bottles, hoses, solenoids, and especially that bright red arming switch or hidden button. Even if you've never used it, a connected system during a traffic stop can get your car towed on the spot. Insurance companies, they love this one. If an accident investigator finds an active nitrous system, they can legally void your entire policy. One accident, and you're footing the entire repair bill yourself. Some states even treat nitrous possession like intent to violate emissions laws, meaning officers can confiscate your entire setup as evidence. It's not just a speeding risk, it's a federal offense waiting to happen. So yeah, that extra horsepower might make you feel like a street racer, but it could also make you a federal case. But if that sounds risky, wait until you see what happens when you add a little color to your ride. Accessory number 10, Underglow lights. They glow, they flash, they make your car look like something out of Fast and Furious. But underglow lights, especially the colorful neon ones, can land you in serious legal trouble in many states. Here's the twist. Underglow itself isn't always illegal, but the color and usage make all the difference. Red and blue lights, almost universally banned, because they mimic emergency vehicles. Flashing patterns, forbidden in most jurisdictions. And those RGB systems you control with your phone, they can be considered distracted driving devices if you're changing colors while on the road. Some states, like Arizona, allow amber or white underglow on the sides. Others, like Michigan and Kansas, ban anything flashing red or blue. In fact, certain cities even have local ordinances that override state rules. So what's legal in one neighborhood could get you a ticket 1 mile over. Here's what really trips people up. Covered or switched off underglow can still be illegal, depending on how and where it's mounted. If the lights are visible from the front or rear, you're technically in violation in several states, even if they're turned off. The LED trend has made things even more confusing. Many modern kits are programmable, which means the police can't tell at a glance whether you're running white, green, or illegal strobing blue. And yes, there are stories of cars getting pulled over for underglow, then being cited for multiple violations, including impersonation, improper lighting, and equipment tampering. It's easy to think underglow is just harmless flair, but legally it's a minefield. Accessory number 9. Aftermarket mufflers. They rumble, they growl, they turn heads. But aftermarket mufflers, they can also get you pulled over, fined, and even cited for violating federal emissions laws, even if they're not that loud. Most people think the problem is just the noise. And yes, every US state has laws against excessive or unusual exhaust noise, but it goes much deeper than that. In California, for example, it's not just about volume. The law says your muffler must be in constant operation, and that no exhaust system shall be equipped with a bypass, cutout, or similar device. Translation: if your setup allows for more noise, or bypasses emissions equipment, it's illegal, full stop. And don't think other states are lax. Washington, Oregon, Nevada, Michigan, Pennsylvania, they all either measure exhaust volume objectively or leave it up to the officer's judgment. Either way, if it sounds unusual or aggressive, it's fair game for a ticket. But here's what really shocks people. Even if your aftermarket muffler is within the legal noise limits, it could still be non-compliant with emissions standards. That Slick Flowmaster or Borla muffler might not be CARB certified. And if it's not, you're breaking the law the second it's installed, especially in states that follow California's emissions rules. Even worse, some mufflers that start out legal become illegal during a repair if a shop doesn't reinstall them exactly to spec. A simple exhaust fix could accidentally turn your car into a rolling violation. And don't count on the shop to warn you. Many performance garages skip over the fine print, take your money, and leave you holding the violation notice when it shows up in your mailbox months later. So your car may sound like a beast, but to the EPA, it sounds like a lawsuit. Now let's talk about one little plug-in gadget that can quietly land you in serious federal trouble. Accessory number 8, GPS jammers. It's small, cheap, and plugs right into your car's power outlet. But a Jeep's jammer? That innocent-looking device can earn you a $16,000 fine, or worse, prison time. Here's how it works. GPS jammers block satellite signals in a small radius around your vehicle. That means no GPS tracking by your employer, no location data for fleet managers, and no signal for tracking apps. Sounds convenient, right? Except it's completely illegal under federal law. Not just to use, but also to sell, market, or even own with intent to operate. That's how seriously the FCC takes this. One truck driver in New Jersey learned the hard way. His jammer was so powerful, it interfered with air traffic control signals near Newark Airport. He got hit with a $32,000 penalty. Not for the risk, but for using a jammer at all. What most drivers don't realize is that modern cars rely on GPS for more than just directions. Anti-theft systems, emergency calls, like e-call for example, and even some vehicle diagnostics depend on that signal. By using a jammer, you're not just blocking a fleet manager, you're potentially disabling your own emergency systems, or worse, interfering with public safety networks. And if you think no one's watching, think again. The FCC runs jamming detection sweeps across highways and urban areas. Using triangulation tech, they can track the source of interference back to your exact vehicle. It's not just a traffic violation, it's a federal crime. And what's even crazier, you can still buy these devices online with just a few clicks. No warning, no alert, just an instant trip to the felony zone. But if you thought blocking GPS was risky, wait until you see what happens when you actively mess with law enforcement equipment, because that's where we're going next. Accessory number 7, Police Impersonation Kit. Now we're entering felony territory. Imagine this setup, flashing red and blue strobe lights, a fake police siren, a public address system, maybe even a badge decal on the door. Sounds like a Halloween costume for your car, right? Wrong. It's a one-way ticket to criminal charges, and police take it very seriously. Individually, some of these items might seem harmless, but together, they make your vehicle appear like an authorized emergency vehicle. And impersonating law enforcement is a felony in most states. Think you're just flexing at a car meet? Try explaining that to a judge after getting slapped with charges of public deception, unauthorized use of police markings, or even obstruction of justice. In places like New York and California, just displaying a sticker or emblem that could reasonably make someone believe you're an officer is illegal. That includes NYPD decals, sheriff magnets, or blue line flags when used deceptively, and it gets worse. Some of these so-called kits are sold online with everything you need to build a discount cop car. Fake radios, light bars, sirens with PA systems, even uniforms and patches. Security companies and volunteer responders must apply for special permits just to use emergency lighting. If you don't have that documentation and you're caught using this equipment, the penalties include thousands in fines, a criminal record, and in some cases, jail time. Why the harsh response? Because impersonating an officer isn't just annoying, it's dangerous. It erodes public trust and has been used in abduction, robbery, and stalking cases. So if you thought red and blue lights just looked cool, the justice system strongly disagrees. Our next accessory gives your engine actual power, but it comes with a digital trail that the feds are watching. Number 6, engine modifications. Unlocking hidden horsepower might sound like a smart upgrade, but certain engine mods can turn your ride into a rolling violation of federal law. Today's vehicles are designed to meet strict emission standards, often leaving 20 to 50 horsepower on the table. That's why many drivers turn to ECU tuning, or flashing the engine control unit to disable emissions controls and unlock performance. But here's the problem. Disabling or bypassing emission systems is a direct violation of the Clean Air Act, and the EPA doesn't play games. Professional tuning shops have been hit with six-figure fines, and car owners are now getting violation notices in the mail based on VN number tracking databases. You might think the tune is invisible, but manufacturers are now installing tamper-evident ECU seals and software that checks for non-factory calibrations during warranty service. In short, your car is snitching on you. And it's not just the ECU. Aftermarket cold air intakes, throttle bodies, or even upgraded mass airflow sensors can be illegal if they haven't been CARB certified for your specific make, model, and year. Install the right part on the wrong year, that certification becomes useless, and you're out of compliance. The worst part? Many of these parts are sold as 50-state legal, or CARB approved, but the fine print reveals they're only legal under certain conditions. Some states are now building databases of modified vehicles using inspection reports and social media evidence. Yes, even your car meet posts could flag you. And when the EPA shows up, they don't just ask questions. They issue federal fines, revoke warranties, and sometimes confiscate vehicles. So if you've ever thought it's just a tune, no big deal, it might be a very big deal. And if you thought illegal engine mods were hard to spot, our next accessory shines so bright, cops can see it from a mile away. Literally. Accessory number 5, aftermarket lighting. You'd think adding more lights would make your car safer. But in many states, aftermarket lighting, especially front-mounted LEDs and light bars, can make your car illegally equipped, even if those lights are turned off. The issue isn't just brightness, it's about visibility, positioning, and color. A powerful LED bar mounted on your grille, if it's visible from the front while driving, It may be considered a violation of emergency vehicle laws, especially if it emits white or amber light that's not properly aimed. Some states require light bars to be covered when on public roads. But get this, even with a cover, the mounting location alone can still break the law. And it's not just light bars. Retrofit LED bulbs placed inside housings not designed for them often cast scattered beams that blind oncoming traffic. These can trigger citations for unsafe lighting or equipment not conforming to manufacturer specifications. Then there's the rise of RGB light strips, those flashy color-changing lights around headlights, grills, or wheel wells. These are typically legal only if they remain white or amber, and only when not flashing. But in the real world, drivers often set them to blue, red, purple, or full strobe, making them a magnet for traffic stops. The kicker? Police now carry color detection tools to check whether your white lights are actually shifting through illegal spectrums. Some officers are trained to spot aftermarket lighting by housing shape alone. They don't even need to see them lit. So, while that extra lighting might help you see better in the woods, on city streets, it could be the reason you end up on the shoulder explaining your setup. But if powerful beams get you noticed, the next one is much sneakier. It looks legal until you cross a state line. Accessory number 4, tinted windows. It seems harmless, maybe even helpful. Tinted windows reduce glare, keep your car cool, and offer a bit of privacy. But depending on where you drive and how dark the tint is, you could be breaking the law without realizing it. Here's the deal. Every US state has different tint regulations. Some allow as low as 35% light transmission on front windows. Others, like Illinois, ban front and side tints altogether unless the driver has a medical exemption. And police aren't guessing. Many carry tint meters, small devices that measure exactly how much light passes through your windows. Fail the test? That's a fix-it ticket or worse. But it gets more confusing. Your tint might be legal in California and instantly illegal the moment you cross into Nevada. And if your window tint is installed aftermarket, it may degrade over time, darken unevenly, or begin to reflect light. All violations in many states. Some shops offer limo tints that block up to 95% of light. They look slick, and in some neighborhoods, they're totally ignored. But drive one town over, and that same tint could earn you a stop, citation, and an order to remove it. And despite popular belief, window tint laws aren't just about letting cops see inside your car. They're mainly about your own ability to see out, especially at night, during storms, or in low light. Oh, and one more thing, some cheap tint films actually trick tint meters by changing opacity based on angle. That little hack? Cops already know about it, and they're trained to spot the difference. So, while you might think you're just keeping cool and adding privacy, your tint could be a silent ticket machine waiting to happen. And speaking of hiding things, our next accessory is all about concealment, but it comes with serious legal heat. Accessory number 3, license plate flippers. This one sounds like something out of a spy movie. Push a button, and your license plate flips, hiding your real plate or swapping it for a custom one. But in real life, license plate flipper systems are a fast track to felony charges. These motorized frames were originally designed for car shows or photo ops, but the second you use one on public roads to hide, alter, or cover your legal plate, you're committing a crime. In many states, that's considered defrauding the DMV, which can carry penalties up to $10,000 in fines and up to 3 years in jail. And here's the kicker. Even if you've never used the flipper, simply having it installed is often enough to get you cited. Why? Because law enforcement is trained to spot the wiring, mounting brackets, and motors hidden behind the plate. Once they see that, it's game over. Some drivers think they're being clever. I only flip it for car meets. But intent doesn't matter. If the system is capable of hiding your plate, that's probable cause. And your car may be searched, impounded, or flagged for further investigation. And yes, these devices are frequently used to evade tolls, red light cameras, or parking enforcement, which is why they've become a priority for traffic officers and even federal investigators. In fact, buying one online can land you on a watch list, especially if your purchase is linked to certain high-risk regions or known traffic fraud activity. So if you're thinking about installing one just for fun, consider this. You could be pulled over, arrested, and slapped with a felony charge for what's essentially a fancy license plate frame. But if you think a flipper is sketchy, our next accessory is so destructive, it's banned in multiple states, and it leaves a trail of literal damage wherever it goes. Accessory number 2, studded tires. They grip like a dream on icy roads, but studded tires in the wrong place or the wrong season, they're flat out illegal, and the fines can pile up fast. Here's why. Those tiny metal studs embedded in the tread are great for traction on ice, especially in mountainous or snow-prone areas. But on regular pavement, they're a nightmare, grinding grooves into asphalt, chewing up road surfaces, and causing millions in infrastructure damage every year. That's why states like Hawaii, Illinois, Louisiana, and Texas ban them outright. Others, like California, only allow them between November 1st and April 30th, and only in certain regions. Use them outside those dates or areas? That's a ticket. In some places, it's a $200 to $500 fine per violation. And that's just for starters. What most people don't know is that law enforcement now uses acoustic sensors on highways to detect the unique sound signature of studded tires during banned periods. These sensors flag your vehicle automatically, and in some jurisdictions, they generate citations without a traffic stop. And the shops selling them? Many won't warn you about regional or seasonal restrictions. You buy the tires legally, but the second you drive across a state line or past the deadline, you're breaking the law. Even in states where they're permitted, there's often a strict removal deadline. Miss it by a day, and you're suddenly on the wrong side of the law, with no warning and no grace period. They may feel like a winter cheat code, but unless you're living in an icy mountain pass 24/7, studded tires are more risk than reward. But if grinding pavement wasn't bad enough, our next and final accessory doesn't just break the law. It pollutes entire cities and has landed people in federal court. Ready for the worst of the worst? Let's talk about the #1 illegal accessory: rolling coal modifications. It's loud, it's aggressive, and in some circles, it's a twisted badge of honor. But rolling coal, the act of modifying a diesel engine to spew massive clouds of black smoke, is one of the most illegal and environmentally damaging things you can do to a vehicle. Here's how it works. Drivers install smoke switches, tamper with fuel delivery, and remove emissions equipment like diesel particulate filters. The result? A deliberate explosion of soot and smoke that can coat nearby drivers, cyclists, and pedestrians. And while some claim it's just for fun, the legal system takes a very different view. According to the EPA, rolling coal can increase harmful emissions like nitrogen oxides by up to 310 times and hydrocarbon pollution by 1,400 times. And yes, it's banned under the Clean Air Act. In 2023, multiple companies in Idaho and California were fined over $1 million each for selling and installing coal rolling kits, but it doesn't stop there. In 2021, a 16-year-old in Texas ran over 6 cyclists while trying to smoke them out with his modified truck. That incident turned what's often seen as a prank into a case of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Federal agents are now conducting undercover investigations at truck meets and diesel performance shops. Photos, videos, and even social media posts are being used as evidence. Some states have even set up anonymous tip lines where drivers can report coal rolling vehicles. And those reports lead to real fines, real investigations, and real legal action. And if you're thinking about insurance, don't. If your modified emission system is discovered after a crash, your coverage can be voided entirely. It's not edgy, it's not rebellious. It's a high-risk, high-penalty modification that's getting people arrested and bankrupting the shops that promote it. We strongly warn you, don't risk illegal modifications. Always check your local and federal laws before tuning your car. And if you thought that was bad, wait until you see how mechanics are quietly draining your wallet. Click here to uncover the repair scams most drivers fall for without even realizing it. Hit that like button, comment your biggest surprise, and subscribe for more ways to protect your car and your wallet.